What is happening, you wonderful people? So, February is about to end. March is almost here, and that means with March, we have new movies coming out. But in February, we had a new batch of films that came out. And in my opinion, this month was not super great for movies, but I saw five movies, so we're going to rank them from the worst to the best. Let's talk about it. So, like I mentioned, I saw five movies in February. I was going to see a few more, like Paddington and Peru. Didn't get a chance to go see that. Then there's that new film with Woody Harrelson, The Last Breath. No one's talking about it, and the trailer didn't do anything for me, so I'm not going to go see those ones. But number five is The Monkey. Now, I do not think The Monkey is a horrible film by any means. I do not think it is at all. It's the same situation with Long Legs. I was kind of late to seeing Long Legs last year, and Longlegs is not like the worst film I've seen in my lifetime. It's not at all. But it is in my top 10 worst films of last year. Like, it just did not work for me. I was late to watching it. It was overhyped, and a lot of people enjoyed it. I just was not one of those people. And, you know, seeing the trailer for this, it did not capture me. It didn't. But I heard good things, and I was like, you know what? Might as well go check it out. People are liking it. Maybe I'll enjoy it. And I have to say, it's definitely better than Long Legs. I do think it's better than Long Legs, but that's not saying much. It's directed well. I think it's directed well. It has that great atmosphere and the great aesthetic. And I do think the acting is really good. The performances are very strong in this film. Theo James is really good in this. He's strong in this, especially with him playing a dual role. I think he did an excellent job, a really good job of playing a dual role in the film. I think he did. And it's actually funny at times. Like, you wouldn't think a film that would be as terrifying as this film is, which it is terrifying, would be this funny. But it is. And it's not like a comedy type funny, but it's one of those dark horror comedies. You can call it a dark comedy. That's funny in the sense that the things that happen in this film, you're so shocked by the schlock value of it and just how insane and just in how brutal this film is. It's brutal. You're just like, what did I just want? Like, that type of funny. And the thing is, though, with this film, is it has it has good moments, and there are some positive things about it, good things about it, but it just feels very, in my opinion, from what I got out of it, it just feels very run of the mill and very paint by numbers, and it feels very predictable, and just you've seen this film a million times before, and it just, the story doesn't kick in until the second act, the beginning of the second act, or the end of the third act, around that time in the film. And it just, before that, it just does not feel like the story is there. It just feels like the movie's there. There's no story. And it just, I wouldn't watch it again. And it's just, it drags a little bit, and it just didn't fully work for me. And number four, a film that people are seeming to enjoy. And I could see the potential, The Gorge. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Scott Derrickson as a director. I mean, visually his films are good, and sometimes the writing in his films is really good too. I've never been a big fan of the original Doctor Strange, the first film. It's a rewatchable film. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's a good film. It's just, I've never been a huge lover of that film. And the Black Phone, I feel like, is kind of overhyped in my opinion. I never was a fan of the Black Phone. Some good things about it, not a horrible film by any means. But this one, it's one of those things where I feel like, with the cast that we have, Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller, perfect casting in this film. Their chemistry is off the charts. I love their chemistry. I love the atmosphere, and I love the tone of this film. And I love that, for this film, on paper, it actually seems like it would be a good idea, like a really good idea. But the issue with this film the issue I have is that you have the gorge part of the film. you also have the romance side of the film. You can put both of those in the film. You can, and merge both of those together in a very congruent, non convoluted story that works perfectly. But the thing with this film is that they barely pay any attention to the gorge. They just pay attention to the romance side of it, and we don't get the gorge part of it until kind of the end. And it's a very slow burn film, and I love the aesthetic, love the atmosphere, love the chemistry, love the cast members, Anya Taylor Joy, Miles Teller, but the story just didn't work for me, and it just doesn't focus on what it needs to focus on. And number three, another film people are seeming to really enjoy, and I just was not a huge fan of it. Hard Eyes. On paper, this should be as good as Scream. It should be, or around how good Scream is. But the problem with this film, I'll start with the good. Good things about this film. I think that Olivia Holt's great. Mason Gooding is awesome in this film. He is a blast in this film. Their chemistry is great, and I like the aesthetic. I like the tone, and some of the humor is really great. And it's good for what it is because it's self-aware. It has a good amount of self-awareness to it. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Doesn't overstay its welcome at all. But the thing with this film is that it's trying too hard to be like Scream. And that's all I felt in this film. When I'm watching, I'm just like, this is trying to be like Scream. And it's not getting anywhere close to Scream. It's not outdoing Scream. It's not getting on top of Scream. It's not. And it just, they don't go deep into the mystery of who the killer is in the film. And when we find out who the killer is in the film, at the end of the film, towards the end of the film, it's very lame. And it's very just run of the mill, very paint by numbers, and it just didn't work for me. And number two, Love Hurts. This film I really had no expectations for, but I wanted to enjoy this film because it is a action slash romance slash revenge slash comedy film with Ki Hu Kwan, the nicest guy in Hollywood, one of the most fun actors in Hollywood. This should be great, and it's not. It's not the worst film I've seen ever, but it's not a good film. It's very run of the mill, very paint by numbers, an action flick you've seen a million times before. You know how it starts, you know how the film ends, and Ki Hu Kwan is great. Ariana DeBose is phenomenal in this film. And the action, I really like the action in this film. I really like the action. And it's hilarious. It is it's a crowd pleasing film. This is definitely a film that you should see with the crowd because the crowd I was with, they were enjoying it. Like that, the crowd I was with was having a ball, and that's what made the film fun. But the story is an absolute. It's not convoluted. It's a very, it's the simplicity of it. It's a very simple story, and it's one of those simple stories that you've seen a million times. You know how it's going to start. You know how it's going to end, and it just doesn't work for me. It did not work for me. And number one, Captain America: Brave New World. I really enjoyed it. I did. I think that some of the visual effects are the visual effects is kind of wonky in the film, and I feel like while I really did enjoy the story, at times the story is a little messy, and at times it is a little. While I did enjoy the story, convoluted. It's a little convoluted, but I really do like Sam. I like Sam as Captain America. Walking Tours was great. With the time we get as Harrison Ford as Red Hulk, that final battle is amazing, and I liked him as Thunderbolt Ross. I did, and I like the tone of the film. It does feel like that 1970s political thriller, and it did have that Winter Soldier esqueness, those Winter Soldier vibes to it, and I really dug that. And people were comparing it to The Incredible Hulk 2. Like people were saying it was like a sequel to The Incredible Hulk 2. I could definitely see that, and I'm someone who really does like that film. I do enjoy it. It didn't take me out of the film though. I thought that was cool, and I love the score. I love the sound design. I wish the leader had a little bit more to do, and I wish Giancarlo Esposito had more to do, but I feel like with the time we got for the leader, he was great, and I feel like with the time we got for Giancarlo Esposito side uh, winder, he was great. I really there's a fight scene between him and Sam that involves Sam's truck towards like middle beginning of the film. I really dug that. I really dug that scene, and I like the final battle. I mentioned that earlier. So overall, I really enjoyed this film. Some of the visual effects are kind of eh. The story can be a little messy and convoluted at times, but I really enjoyed this movie. I really did a lot. So yeah, overall, February, besides Captain America: Brave New World, was a kind of a bleh, like meh month for movies. Again, I like Captain America 4, but the other four just weren't that great. So I'm going to throw it over to you guys. What did y'all think of February this month for movies? What movies did y'all like? What movies did y'all not like? Let's talk about it down below. So that'll wrap up this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please know if you're subscribed, like, comment, share. We are at 804 subs. We just hit 800 the other day. That's a big milestone. Next big milestone that we're reaching quickly is 900, and the big one is 1K and beyond that as well. And if you're new as well, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, trailer reactions, movie live streams, movie news, movie rankings, all that wonderful movie stuff under the movie umbrella. And again, let's talk about it in the comments down below. What is y'all's favorite movie of February? Is it The Monkey? Is it Captain America 4? What is y'all's least favorite movie of February? Is it Hard Eyes, Love Hurts? Let's talk about it down below. Keep talking movies and wonderful people. Cheers.